Alrighty, Doc here from North America. It is it. We've hit the, I guess you could say, the stroke of midnight. It is election day. It's going to be done. Can't wait for this to end. Looking forward to it to all be over with. I don't know how any other ways I can describe it. We just want it to be done. So anyway, here we go. You can see here the Swiss is showing us a little weak dollarness right there. Let's see, where's Mouse at? There's Mouse. And you can see here on Chicago Quant, you can see it's rolling over there. You can see it's starting to, hasn't, the lines have started to roll over here on the J4X. It's just a matter of time where it joins in. And so we have no dots here yet. And before you know it, this will probably be some type of white candle. And before you know it, they'll probably have like a little cross in there, you know, that type of thing. So we're looking, you can see the dollar is weakening, which always makes me wonder what is gold doing? You know, that's usually the, you know, as soon as I see that, I think a gold must be up. So we'll take a quick peek at that as we take a sip of our tea at the same time. Remember, it's breakfast time here in the States. Let's see, what do we got? So let's just take a quick look at gold. We'll do it through the J4X. Right there. As you can see, gold is playing with the 1900 area, exactly, you know, showing some strength. And that's normally what we expect to see when we see a weaker dollar. We expect to see a stronger gold. Everything is being rotated. You know, there's no doubt about it. It's a constant rotation going on when it comes to you know, the pairs trades are not pairs trades. That's what I mean by a rotation. So in other words, when you buy you know, Swiss. Well, Swiss probably is the closest. That's why we start off with Swiss nowadays. But there's no doubt in my mind, the way I see the pairs trades are trading physically, it says to me that sometimes they don't use dollars. They use other alternatives. And then they come back and take care of that translation of currency later on. So in other words, they may buy euros, but they don't sell dollars. And what they'll do is they may sell gold, or they might sell soybeans, you know, something that's heavily denominated in dollars, and then you see it, you know, slowly slide into the marketplace. It's just the Blackpool structure of modern trading now. You know, they try to hide pretty much what the execution is, supposedly for anonymity, for the traders themselves. But so far, I'm not totally convinced it's legit. But you know, guess what? That's what it is. That is exactly what it is. So there's the gold. You can see it's doing there. Now let's just take a quick look and see what it looks like in Chicago Quant. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. And there is the gold. You can see now it's firm, but we've got a red dot going on there. So let's just refresh that. Still have a red dot, and look how tight this is here on the time manifold on the daily. Let's widen that out. And it's still just incredibly tight. Look at that. And when's the last time we saw metals that tight with the time manifold? It's been a while. There you go. Back in, what is that? That is back in February, where the time manifold got that tight. And out of it, we got a nice move from 1600 to 1700 over a 6-day period. So it might be prepping for the election. You know, in other words, in this case here, we are in a weekly sell. Let's see, what were we back then? In February, we were in a, yeah, we're in a weekly buy also back then. You can see that there. Oh, not also. It was in a weekly buy, and now it's in a weekly sell. Let's go back to that there. You can see that it's in a weekly sell. So maybe what will happen is the election will turn out the way we expect. There won't be much of a problem, and money won't have to run into some safe haven like gold. All right, let's jump over to the euro. Take a look and see what's going on with euro today. Let's see. Let me see. Let's see, how does it work right there? And we'll put the euro up on it on J4X. And you can see the strength in it. You know, dollar's obviously going down. And you can see it's trying to turn up here with the white line. Still hasn't pierced anything, but it is acting that way. And then let's take a look at it over on the Chicago Quant. Where are we at? There we go. And there's the euro up top. And you can see same thing. We're even getting volatility dots at the moment. Let's just refresh that. There's the last time we had some good volatility dots with it. And we got a nice little move coming out of the sell into the buy on the daily. Was in a weekly sell also there. In this case here, we're actually in a buy. So as much as it's literally floating along the zero line there, again, you have to assume, because it's the election and the uncertainty, there's anticipation going on, but there's a lot of uncertainty. So you have to assume, without a doubt, as a trader, that the movement we're seeing over the last couple of weeks and what we'll see over the next 24 hours could be a lot more sloppier, depending on how the outcome of the election comes. In other words, there won't be any solid direction. Next thing you know, you're buying it because it's going up, and then the next thing you know, it's going down, or vice versa. So, I suggest the traders to stand to the side at this point. And we talked about it yesterday. If traders have positions on, go for a hedge more than to go to a stop loss. That would make more sense. You don't want to get stopped out in this market and then find yourself... Like yesterday, it was interesting. I think it was MHB or someone was trading, I guess it was euros. And it was like they were looking at 116.32 or something like that. And then I guess what it did is it sold itself down to it on the hourly chart. We can show you that here. We were looking at the hourly chart. There it is. Yeah, it must be that. So let's make that wider. And so yesterday, during the webinar right here, we were in the greens. And then after the webinar, an hour later, basically, let's see, right there. So I guess it would be like there. So an hour and a half later, it gave us a red dot. And then we did get down below that 16 something or another that they were looking for. And again, we tried to remind them that you got to, what gets you in gets you out. And so if your work consistently keeps on telling you, it's going down, then you ride it, and because that's why you do all the homework. That's why you do the back testing. You do that. You don't discount it in the middle of the trade. You just trust your math, because if it doesn't win that time, it's going to win multitude more times. That's why you back test it. And so at least that's the way I work. And so you can see here it did finally sell down to it. We went into the sell off of, I guess it's this one here, and it went down to, what did it do, 29 there, and then it wasn't a deep drop. Then it was like 25 there, and it kind of bounced up again. And then finally, I guess the low of the low before it went into a buy again was 116.22, and then it started to show some life in it and got a little volatility signal, and we've been in a buy ever since. You can see there. So, all right, where do we go from here? I guess what we do is we go and we take a look at the cable. Let's see what the cable's up to. Right there, and there's the cable. Now, cable, same situation, except for the fact that it's even longer in a buy, and it's battling to get back into the daily buy. And you can see we're 3 full weeks in a weekly buy, and so it hasn't really sold off too bad. I guess you could say from the low, the high 31s down to I guess it was at 28.5. That's a pretty good move. Couple hundred pips, I guess with the lockdown, I had everybody shaken up, that type of thing. And now you can see here it's trying to lift back up again. We'll see how that survives and see how much room it has on the upside. Hi 47, how you doing? S&P 500. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. Let's see, right there it is, right there. There's the S&P 500. Let's give it a refresh. And you can see it closed in a daily buy yesterday. In this case here, I guess it was just a plain green dot yesterday. Now it's showing a volatility dot, which is curious. Yesterday that was just a green dot when we put that green line in, but it's still climbing up. But look at the weekly. The weekly is still hesitant to turn, so we're just waiting to see what they do with that. At this point in time, I have to believe that I'm going to save that. Just got to save it sooner or later to send it out, so might as well save it now. Where's the ESs? Right there. There we go. So you can see here the white line is making it to the time manifold. But again, we're coming out of, just like this here, we're coming out of the weekly sell just for a week. We'll see how this does. If it starts to get some action, I imagine above, I could find the weekly number. It's probably up in the 34s. So we probably get up in the 34.40s and it probably does it. How are you? I'm doing fine. No, I'm going to vote after I do the webinar. I'm going to go out and vote because I don't know how long the lines are going to be. I'm going to go to a physical place and see if I can vote. So, but BZ, thank you for asking. And we're looking forward to this day being over with. If I could just go to sleep last night and wake up about 9 or 10 o'clock this evening, I would have been a lot more happier about it all. But I do want to get out and vote, so I will get out and vote. And then from there, see what the markets are doing. So there it is there. All right, now, let's see. Let's go take a look at, where were we at? Oh, yes. So we were at, we were in the currencies. So there's the cable, and you can see that strength in it. And we'll see how well that does. Now, let's take a peek at, what's the next one to take a peek at? Let's take a look at Turkish Lira. Oh, geez, it keeps on inching its way up. It's at 8.5 now. They keep on finding new ways now to make a new all-time high every day. Obviously, they have got some things really turned upside down in that country. Or maybe, like I said, the prime minister / now president, when he first took prime minister, the currency was trading at 1.5 to the dollar. Now it's trading at 8.5 to the dollar. And so as long as he's been in power, this thing has been going up. This must be the strategy. That's the only way I can interpret it. I can't interpret it any other way because obviously he was prime minister, now he's president. He obviously has the power to make the economy in his vision. So this is the vision that he has. And I think it's like a Chinese thing. I think he wants to drive the value of the asset, the currency, down so much that foreign investment comes in. I don't know where the line is drawn, but obviously he wants that currency to be really, really cheap so he can get, foreign investment. That's the way I look at it. There must be something behind the strategy. All right, and then you can see Canadian right there. Ooh, let's widen that out on Canadian. And you can see Canadian pushing down for a second day. Closed in a daily sell yesterday, and pressure is there. So you would assume that crude oil is trying to lift up. What we'll do is we'll drift over to the NASCAD. And then from the NASCAD, we'll take a peek at oil. That's usually the way it goes. Because the NASCAD should be up with that down, but it doesn't show that, does it? See, notice the last couple of days has been pressuring down, which is kind of odd because usually when Canadian is going down, oil has a tendency to go up in value, and the NASCAD usually is representative of that. So let's take a look at oil. You can see here we're on a, well, we've been in a, this has been very curious, is we've been 3 full days now on a daily buy. And they really tried to shake the tree there yesterday, coming into the opening of the week. They had taken oil down into the low 33 or mid 33s, and now it's trading at 38 actually as we speak. We're seeing 38.01. So it's been a $5 swing almost. Is that $5? $4.50 swing. So that's pretty wild. $4 swing like that. We'll see what that's all about, but that's very impressive. A $4.50 swing, and you can see we are trying to get back into the weekly buy at the same time, and you can see the strength of this thing's pretty tenacious of late. I don't see anything. That was a big range there, an enormous range for the day. and today is definitely firming up to be just as strong, or at least close to being as strong when it comes to the the amount of up for the day. And so we'll see what they do with that. But it's a little curious that we're not seeing the NASCAD showing strength yet. I'll just keep on watching it do its thing. And then, so there's crude oil. Matter of fact, let's save that while I'm here. And it's showing good life in there. And then what was it? It was gold. Did we have gold up there? We didn't. Did we look at gold yet? No, I don't think we did. Yeah, we did at the very beginning. The enormous tightness right there, which is really curious in its actions. It's in the weekly sell. It's trying to lift up. You can see here with these dailies. Let's just refresh it one more time. But it's going up in value and in a weekly sell. And it's so tight to be able to tell what the hell it is. Okay, so you can see there. So we widen it out a little bit too. So went into a daily sell there. Goes back into, it couldn't go into a buy because we're a red dot. Now it's trying to drop down, but it's up in value. Real tangle. It reminds me of that Home Depot, that high grade copper chart we had to deal with about 5-6 weeks ago, where it was just doing the same exact thing. The price was rising. We were getting red dots. It was telling us to stay in a sell. It was in a weekly sell. It was like it was one of those strange things. So I guess we're maybe 3 or 4 weeks away from some real good action in the gold again. So we'll keep a track on that too. And let's save that while we're here. While we are there. So, all right. Now, let's see. We looked at NASCAD. And so that's usually where we jump over into the commodities. If you have any other currency you want me to look at, give me a shout out. And if not, then I will go visit the commodities and see how all the rest of the commodities are functioning. No problem there. We can always go back. Let's see what silver's doing now. See, silver's playing the whole opposite side of the game there. It's 3 full days in a buy and going on a 4th day. You can see the weekly again is right on the edge of going into a buy. It's still just minus by a hair of its chinny chin. And so they're reaching in and buying the gold. They're buying the silver, but the difference is, as you can see on the chart here, is that the silver has the green dots going with it. All the math is telling us that it wants to go up, and and it's just waiting for the weekly to join in there. Dollar Swiss, yeah, let's go check out Dollar Swiss. And there is Dollar Swiss right there. And we see that the weakening of the dollar there, and you can see that the Swiss is heading towards our 0 line. You can see we're still in a weekly sell there. And let's just check it out on J4X real quick. And let's see, right there. It looks like it's at this top end of the range. We're just waiting for the white line to pierce the dotted line there. And we figured that they'll really start to push. They'll really start to push it down. So, Swiss looks like, as you can see on the fact check spreadsheet too, line 21. It's 2 weeks in a sell, and 6 days in a buy. And you can see here the time manifold is not even. Let me highlight that a little bit better. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. Let's go like that. Let's move that over there like that. There we are. Just switching mice. And as you can see right here, the white line is not even able to break through the negative time manifold. How's that? Does that help out any? 47? The Swiss there? I really like following the Swiss. It's one of my favorites now. It really gives us great insight to the rest of the pairs trades, the way the dollar is moving. So to me, it's been a very good thing to use as a lead into the webinar, because it gives you a flavor of what the dollar is doing. Oh, no problem. No problem. All right, now, where did we leave off? We just looked at silver. There's silver there. And so, and there's NQs. You looked at S&Ps, and you can see NQs cannot get going. As much as the S&P, let's just show you that S&P again. You see the S&P is trying to lift up and get into the buy. The NQs, the NASDAQ, is having its issues there. They're still just chopping along. And you can see all this minus for weeks. What is that? That is line, I don't think you can see it on this fact check spreadsheet. Let's just roll that a little bit. You can see there, it is 14 days in a sell right there. 1 week in a sell, 14 days in a sell. So the NASDAQ is having its issues about dealing with what's going on at the moment. They may, I kind of, in my mind, Trump wins all this. And so you would have to assume that the NASDAQ would be the weakest of the indices. And obviously like the Dow and the Russell and all like that would be the strongest of the indices. And the S&P usually follows that Dow action, So, they're going to do something about the media, the way they've gone so extremely one-sided, and what we would refer in the old days as un-American. So in other words, there's no freedom of speech anymore. We seem to have lost the freedom of speech, and it's basically institutional at this point. So you would assume that this is where the changes are going to occur, and that's why the index is acting the way it is. It's anticipating the Trump victory. I think that's what it really is doing in the end. And you can see here, I saw that yesterday. It was a great headline about the bonds, because the bonds are going one way, and the something else was going in the other way, the stock indices, and they were like, it can't last long. They have to join in again, and so you can see here the 10-year bond. Let's refresh that. The 10-year bond is pressing down again, and we've been in weekly sells for a bunch of weeks. Was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full weeks, going on a 6th week, and so we're seeing U.S. bonds go one way, in other words, become more expensive, and we're seeing at the same time stocks lifting up, which is very curious for the average trader, because usually when bonds lift up in price, lift up in yield, go down in price, usually the stocks join in with it and go down also. But they're not doing that, except for over in the NASDAQ. And as you can see, let me see if I can show you. Here's the Russell right here. Let's just show you the Russell. You see the Russell's going the other direction also, showing strength. So let's refresh that one. I always look at the Russell now as like the old NASDAQ. It's got the high flyers, or the speculative companies, slowly evolving into becoming major companies. And so that is the game that we see going on there. And we could take a quick look at, well, we're down that low. Let's take a look at copper. Since we saw silver, let's see what copper looks like there. Now, that I always look at, that's like the eyes of China in my head. So in other words, I guess, we're seeing 2 days of, this is the second day of buying, and we're in a weekly buy, and so they're trying to press this thing up. Maybe less liquidation in China. I don't know. Trump wins, things are going to be a lot more positive overall. I mean, obviously the Chinese would like to have like a Joe Biden in there, where they could basically get back to having the United States buy $3 or $4 or $500 billion a year in product, and that doesn't seem to be happening. So I'm not sure if you can say that copper is strong because of China, or is it strong because of the potential growth with a second Trump administration, that the economy will lift. I mean, it's really hard to say when it comes to the fundamentals. So, all right. Now, let's see, where do we go from here? We're looking at the world through the commodities this morning again, and I'm willing to go and check out any other pairs trade that you would like to see in the currencies. That's why we run through the currencies, and we did the euro and the cable and the Canadian, and we looked at the Turkish Lira, and we looked at the Swiss, and we usually leave it open to the traders watching the webinar to lead us further into what to look at in the currency pairs. We try to do the basics, and then from there, let people, direct us to pairs trades that are not normally followed by many technicians. Whereas Doc is willing to challenge any product at any time, with his mathematics. All right, you can see natural gas. Here's another one with the winter months coming up. We've been in a buy from here. It's going all over the place, and now you can see how it's pressing down. But still in the buy, and it's becoming very volatile, extremely volatile. And at the same time, we're in a weekly sell. So again, another product that is basically in a neutral stance for us, and we're not really sure if it has a clarity yet in direction. Let's see. So now on this particular page, let's see what else we have. I know that I wanted to look at. Oh yes, there's platinum. You can see here the platinum is still holding up. And again, not a lot of clear direction in the metals. After the election, everything will be fine. It'll start to clear up. A lot of this consistency will start to become more, what's the best way, trending. Right now, we're not really getting the trending that we'd like to see. And then you can see here's the gasoline for the automobile. And you can see it's showing strength, whereas natural gas is not. And then at the same time, crude oil is. So they're both moving up really firm. But again, look at the fight that it has with the weekly. So it's a neutral stance. We know if you're a manufacturer or something, you know that using our math that you can let it float a little bit up before you hedge it. But overall, it is in a neutral stance or an option trade more than anything else. There we are. And then I think the last one we have on this page is the Dow Jones Industrial Average right there. So you can see here, let's reload that, another one of those that are trying to get into the buy. And again, all these stock indices are pressed into this weekly sells. So it just shows you that there is no real long-term commitment or longer-term commitment than hours and days. But when it comes to weeks, they are kind of standing to the side and waiting for it all to evolve. I guess that's the best way to describe it, is evolving. Like a tadpole becoming a frog. It evolves, loses the tail, and so forth. And then if we go and look at the bonds again, this time on a 30-year basis, which is right here, you see the pressure is on that too. It's been in a weekly sell for a while on that one, a long while. And that pretty much shows you where the commodities futures are when it comes to the industrial types, like crude oil and gold and copper and natural gas, all the major industrial stuff. So there it is. Let's just save that right there. And so there's the 10-year. So that's the 30-year bond, not the 10-year bond. We've looked at that. This is the 30-year. You can see the same action. And again, stocks on a very, very short-term basis lifting up. And the bond market is heading down. Definitely, we're in fun times, that's for sure. All right. Now, where else do we go? Does anybody want to see anything else? Like, no one's asking for grains or anything like that? Which is always fun, to go into the grains and see what, like we saw yesterday, wheat took off. And again, we always think that that's a very solid, surrogate for the dollar. Anything traded in the billions of dollars value in international markets is a good surrogate for the dollar. And so that's the way we always look at this stuff, and that's why we look at these products. Is that we just assume that they're just being used. Like the days of a pairs trade is pretty much almost gone, where you would just you buy Swiss, sell dollar, or you buy euro, you sell dollar. Now you buy Swiss and you might sell gold, or you might sell silver, or you might even sell soybeans. something denominated in dollars. So that is the world we're in nowadays, where a pairs trade is more like a triad, like a three-legged stool. And what you see is the action to that is because money is running into alternatives to compensate for the dollar. In other words, they don't want to just, notice every so often you hear like the central banks say, "Oh, okay, they're not manipulating their currency." I think that's why they run into the alternatives. You ever see where they make that announcement out of nowhere once in a while, like every 3 and 4 weeks? Oh, they're not manipulating. I think it's because as long as the pairs trades stay in some type of defined channel that all the central banks agree with, then they can basically say, okay, they're not manipulating their currency. And I think that is what's really going on nowadays. Is that and it's a very very strange situation too. When you really think about it, that they openly come out and talk about it, but you're not really sure what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like no one's giving you a definition why it's now all of a sudden declared that it's not not in a manipulative state, but they're very fast to. No, that didn't get through it, did it? So that's the soybeans. Yesterday, they were showing life in beans and wheat, and then all of a sudden it sold down. And you can see here, today it's trying to lift up again, and we're getting a very positive action there like that. We had a volatility number there, with the dots, and we'll save that because we do like to save these things so we can send them out later on. And so that is the front month beans. All right, now there's hogs. And so as much as we keep on hearing about food shortages, pretty much we're seeing weakness in the pork market right there. Oh no, this is cattle. I'm sorry. No, why would that say that's hogs? Format, and that is Feb hogs, not cattle. Hogs. There we are. Feb hogs. Let's fix that. And file save that. There we are. And so we're seeing the sideways action in our quant, and you can see our weekly is pressed under, and you can see it's been falling down at the same time, especially in here. And right there. And if anybody does want to see a particular currency, let us know. We'll go hunt down another one. Like I said, we've done about 7 or 8 currency pairs, and then we wait for traders to give us like, can we see like the Aussie dollar or the Euro Aussie or just anything. Just fire it out, and we will go review it. And that's how we usually do this all the time. We do that review of what's going on, unless something's jumping out at us. And right now, because of the election, I try not to push it too hard on anything, like saying I'm looking for a trend, because none of it looks like it wants to hold up into a trend yet. I think once we get past the election, our trends are going to become much more defined again, and that's what's really driving everything around us right now, is the lack of a trend. I mean, we did see the stock markets, drop down over the last over the last couple of weeks, but it is not really a solid trend that I would trade off of. I mean, on a short term intraday, yeah, or day to day was no problem doing it, but the broader longer term trend to me is not going to establish itself yet until this election is over with. All right. Now, anybody else out there that wants to see anything, we'd gladly go do it. We like looking at new things. And that's cattle there. You can see cattle on the weekly sell and the daily buy. So the foodstuffs is still dancing along in a very unique way. Now, yesterday, here you could see wheat. Wheat had taken off yesterday. Let's refresh that. And it's showing life in it again today. Today's the 3rd, yeah. So it's showing life in it again today. And we saw the winter, the spring wheat looking the same exact way, showing strength. And then corn, you can see here, corn has, moved into a positive direction here, or at least it's trying. And there's the buy in that spot right there. I guess we can move that over one, like that. Let's just reload that. See how corn looks. But the grains are being bought, and again, they talk about the idea that like China this year is going to be really reaching for imports when it comes to the foodstuffs. They're having some issues about being able to feed everybody. So really confusing when they can't feed everybody. You would think they would have some different policies, I guess. I don't know. Just an American train of thought. And then you can see these are the young ones, the feeders. You can see they're trying to take off also. But we're still having problems trying to get that weekly trend to change. It doesn't seem to want to do that. And like I said over and over again, if you would like to see any particular currency pair, let me know and we will go take a look at it. I would like to come up with, like, I guess we're GBP JPY. We've looked at that, and the Euro AUD. Some of the more exotic pairs trades. There we are. And this one here is a Jan soybean. Again, this weekly stuff is really holding down. Very surprising to see the foodstuffs and the commodities having that issue. Again, I don't see a really solid trend. I think that we won't see a real solid trend for at least another couple days. Again, depending on how fast everything plays out tonight, too. I mean, there's a good chance that Mr. Trump wins some states that people didn't expect altogether, and he wins the Electoral College with or without Pennsylvania. It doesn't really matter, and then next thing you know is that they're not going to be able to deny him. And so it really won't matter. And it's a very interesting chess match that goes on with the American political system. Because it's supposed to be, I guess you could say, it's supposed to be a gentleman's sport, no death squad type of attitude. Not supposed to be stealing and pressuring people, that type of thing. And instead, seems to be that's all we get anymore is that type of bump and grind stuff. Now, here we were looking at this. This is the soybean oil, which usually matches with crude oil. And went into the sell there, and now it's trying to... Well, actually, it couldn't get in the sell because of that, so I guess we have to remove that. It's still in the buy because we have a green dot there now. I mean, and that's that Blackpool thing where the data gets jumbled up and we don't see it for 6 hours or 3 hours. And then all of a sudden they fill in more data, in going into the following day, they give you back data that changes the whole complexion, which is, a good reason why, we really pay attention to quantitative more than anything else, because if it's doing it with that, fundamentals are just like gone when it comes to trying to understand the action and direction of things. Now here, this is the last part of the crush spread. This is the soybean meal. And they did get into a sell, and now it's trying to get back into a buy, and it looks like a second day of no dot, which is really curious there. See, and it's in a weekly buy there. See, again, the world is clamoring for food. So we're seeing all our grains looking very firm. And then here is the spring wheat. Right there. That's the spring red wheat. It's been in a weekly buy, and it's daily buy, and it's been climbing. Hasn't taken out these highs the way the past crop. I'll just show you what the past crop. Oh, let's do this. Let's refresh this too. And we'll show you the past crop. Right there. And then here is the December crop that has come out of the field, basically, or coming out of the field. You can see here, same situation. It's lifting, but it's not taking out these highs. And that's a curious thing right there. All right. Now, again, anybody want to see a particular currency pair, just put it up on the chat line and we'll go after it. There's trapped now. This is January beans and looking really just sloppy sideways. All right, let's see. And last but not least, Jan meal. And that's our view of what can be alternative pairs trades. And at the same time, we collect the data on it, which is always neat. There we are. And there it is. So that was the look of alternative ways of trading a pairs trade without using the dollar. And that's how, the new world of currency trading has gone, is that anything denominated in dollars that trades in the billions of dollars worth, they can use as an alternative. That's why you see gold and silver and platinum and so forth, copper, oil, the three majors: soybeans, wheat, and corn. The cattle are more of a derivative off of it, really, because they don't trade as much in volume. Yes. All right. Now, where do we go from here? I guess we could go hunt down a couple of exotics. No one seems to be asking for anything particular today. Let's see. Where is that? There it is. So we'll do this. We'll close this like so. And what we didn't do is we a Mexican peso. I wonder what the Mexican peso is doing. In this type of action at the moment. Let's just check that out. We have someone watching the Mexican peso now. So you can see here, there is the AUD Japanese yen, which is always interesting too. And let's save that while we got it there. You can see it's showing life in it. Where's it at? Right. One of those charts in here. There it is. You see it's trying to lift up. Got into a daily buy yesterday. Look at how close it is on the weekly. It's still not lifting through. And there's the peso. Peso had been strong for a couple of days. And that weekly, the pressure finally built up and took it back down again. And you can see here it's breaking again. Let's just give that a refresh. Again, more tight than anything else. But then look at this sell-off. I had no problem being that tight and selling off at the same time. The good old peso. We watched the dollar Canadian, and sometimes we don't really watch the peso as much as we should. And then, let's see, there's the yen. You see the yen went into the buy yesterday, played with the volatility signal the day before, and it's holding up, not a lot. And you can see here just a long ride of minus on the weekly. So it's constant, no clear. I mean, how many products have we talked about and looked at now that is in a weekly buy or a weekly sell and in a daily buy or daily sell? In other words, the weekly buy and daily sell, or vice versa. There's a lot of products that are just not trending much at all. Oh, we can do this too. We can move this down. Remove. Put that there, like that. There we are. Which is very curious when you think about, momentum trades and just general trading overall. That we see our weeklies going one way. We see, like in this case here, you can see the euro trying to head down on a weekly basis, and at the same time trying to break out in the daily with a volatility signal, no less, with a green and a red. So, like I said, and I've been saying it for weeks, traders, this is not the time to put on any real position. We want the markets to get past the election, and then you can start to get into trends again. Because right now, it's just a lot of noise. Same thing with there's the cable, same situation. Just breaking air. Same time now, this has been in a weekly buy while it's been riding down. Maybe we will see now. And that's, look at all the things that are going on in Europe too. Between the Austria situation to the French situation to the British situation, there's a lot of noise going on. Matter of fact, there was a headline in like Zero Hedge. Why is Europe catering to revolution or something like that? Maybe we'll go take a look at that. That is a curious, statement. It's a very curious statement. Let me see if I can find that. I thought that was kind of odd. I didn't read the article, but it seemed to be odd that they even suggest the idea that Brussels is basically courting the idea of some type of revolution. I thought they had control of everything. I don't know. I keep on watching France, and I keep on thinking that Le Pen is going to do well one of these elections. She's very close all the time. And, with the way Paris is, they've just added another 3,500 troops into the city. I don't know if they're up to 10,000 troops again or not, but, there's got to be a lot of frustration there. A lot of frustration. So, when they say, let's see if we can find that. I thought that was a really curious headline. Maybe we can explore that a little bit, unless someone wants to see something in particular. Let's see. Let me just put my glasses on and see if I can find it. Where is it at? Right. Let's see. Right here. Let's see. See if we can find that. Alrighty. Where are you? Right there. Right there. We'll see if we can find that now. What's this? Shanghai Stock Exchange postpones ANT IPO after Alibaba's May summoned by China regulators. Ooh, what's that all about? Let's see. Election day futures oil soar as Americans hit the polls. What to remember holding your breath today? Let's see. I'm going to find that European one. I thought that was kind of really strange. At least one terrorist. That's Austria. Let's see. UK brings in army to help with first China-style mass COVID. Let's see. Worst behind us. Insolvency. Let's see. There it is. Here's the headline, which is a very strange headline. I think we should show this headline. I'm not sure, what is on their mind, but it's an interesting headline. Why is Europe courting revolutions? Now, are they talking about revolutions in Europe, or are they revolutions outside the country, or what is? Let's see. All eyes remain on the U.S. election, and I guess that facing its consequences. I think it's just spell check wrong. But in the shadow of the election, there are other moving parts. Germany just offered Washington a sweetheart deal in which Europe, with Germany leading, accepts a leverage American full-spectrum strategy of isolating and weakening Russia and China. In return, it is asking for the U.S. to acquiesce to German leadership of a power political European entity that is raised to parity with the U.S. That bluntly is to say Germany is angling for superpower status. But the new era putting Putin recognized such as possibility that Germany aspiring to be a superpower during this recent speech. I don't know. It's just a lot of strange things going on. It's awful hard to get a trend out of this market, and forces you to, want to be more of a short-term trader more than anything else. The fundamentals seem to be pushing away from, I guess you could say, like a reality. Honestly, a reality seems to be a real guessing game anymore. And I guess that's why Janos, has been saying that we're not seeing the legitimate fundamentals that we used to see, which is a very odd thing. It is very odd for us not to see solid fundamentals as something we can trade by anymore. And that's why quants and artificial intelligence and just all the other types of tools are becoming much more successful as products to trade. Using them as the direction to trade, which is again very strange overall. So, what else can we say about that whole thing? Guess that's about it there. All right. Do we have anybody on the tape asking us for anything in particular that we should be looking at the moment? So far, we've not seen anybody jump in besides earlier in the webinar about the Swiss and the S&Ps and that's about it there. Let's see. I'm looking through to see if there's any charts that are well worth chasing after. At the moment, I don't see anything in particular because we see so many with weekly buys and then daily sells, or vice versa. Weekly sells with daily buys. And that's where we are at the moment. There we are. Okay. What else? I don't have much more to chase after. Let me see if I can find something. Maybe somebody in here is got a trend going. I don't know. We could take a look at some stock indices. Maybe that's a half the game right there. Here's the stock indices. And that's the dollar index. You can see the pressure on that today. That's why we are nowadays looking at the Swiss against the dollar. What a great way of looking at the pairs trade. I don't even know what to call this day. Election day, something like that. Waiting for it all to end. That's pretty much it. Now this is the S&P 500. You can see here it's trying to lift up. Let's see. So here, there was your volatility signal. And today it's trying to show life in it. So right there. Not much more than that. If anybody would like to see some of there's Tesla. See what Tesla's doing. Tesla's been weak. They tried to get into a buy. It's been in a weekly sell for a couple of weeks, and you can see it here. Days wise, it's been what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 days in a sell. I tried to get into the buy that day, but had the red and the green, so I wasn't able to do that. So we're seeing, like I said, we're seeing a lot of insecure type of situations when it comes to, all the indices and the currencies. We're seeing a lot of misdirection or kind of confusion. Weekly buys with daily sells and daily buys with weekly sells. Just a lot of that just going around in circles. Just nothing more than that at this point. So let's see, what else can we look at here, traders? And what will we even call this today? Election day, confusion, that's what it looks like. I mean, we just don't have a lot of solid action going on in there. Very few are even remotely trying to get a trend. We're not even seeing a trend today. And I wouldn't expect it. They used to close the markets on election day, which was always nice. We had the day off. Now election day is the markets are open, and so it's not as much fun as when it was closed, because we could go to the bar or, get involved in politics. And at one time they used to close bars. Bars weren't open during election. They didn't want people selling their vote for a drink, so they wouldn't allow alcohol, places to be open for for election day, which seems kind of funny now. So anyway, we're just going to keep on looking around to see if we can find something that would justify a long or a short, but we just don't see it. I mean, it's just, this is a type of market that is going nowhere slowly. And like I said, we wait for this to end, and then we will see a market again that will start to trend. And I imagine, with a Trump victory, the markets will be relatively sanguine. We use those French words, sanguine, be peaceful in a sense. I mean, of course, the Antifa and the Black Lives Matter will come out and get nuts for a couple of days, that type of thing. I mean, that's normal. That's what they do, and especially in the Democrat cities, they allow them to get very loud, but nothing more than that. After that, it'll go away and it'll be done and over with, because once Mr. Trump has won the Electoral College, then he will not necessarily back away from any of the challenges. Right now, I thought he's been relatively peaceful and quiet for because he's trying to get through the election, and that's an important thing for him. So that's where we are with that. I got 3 minutes to the hour, so what we can do is we can just to the half hour itself. I can hang out here hoping that somebody chooses to look at something, and if not, we'll just call it a day. And we have to figure out what to call this too. I don't even know what to call today. Today is so, election day doldrums. Let's try that. Let's try something like that. And I missed the days when the markets were closed on election day. That was nice. Like I said, it was definitely a golfing or a party day. Now it's working, or you could get involved in politics, that type of thing. You could go do some politics that day, not miss anything. Anyway, this is Doc from North America. Tomorrow should be very entertaining. I can't wait to see what it all plays out to be. So we will see you tomorrow. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. See you Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? No, yes, Wednesday.